And we are live. We are live. Michelle Rosado, are you on with me?
I'm here.
Excellent. Well, we're back. The morning show started off so great. We came back for another edition. We're going to punch out with the evening. RB, what do we have planned for the people tonight?
Whew. After the morning show, so much happened in the boxing world. We were just saying this morning that this week was a really dead week in the boxing universe, and then, bam, we had fight announcements. We had David Lemieux coming in husky as hell in Canada. We have rumors going around, social media that James De La Rosa didn't want the fight, that they couldn't come to an agreement, that they're still working on it. So we're going to get the real story. We're going to have Adrien Clark, who is James De La Rosa's manager. He's going to call us from Montreal here in the next few minutes, and he's going to give us the lowdown. He's going to tell us exactly what was being negotiated, what was being offered, what they really wanted, and why they could not come to terms or to any type of agreement to make the fight go forward. In addition to having Adrien come on, I have some other word on the curb that I got today after the morning show. So I'll dish a little bit of that as well. It has a little bit to do with Miguel Cotto, and it has a lot to do with Vanez and Charlo and that whole circle of mess. So we got a lot going on, Jay.
That's excellent, and we are happy to be here with you to bring the latest in boxing news to you, authentic, unbiased, and straight from the source. If you want to call into the show or just listen into the show, the number is 718-508-9852, 718-508-9852. RB, while we're waiting for Adrien to join us, what should we start with? We got so much ether to start with. Do we start with the Showtime card? Do we start with some word? What do we start with?
Yeah. I'm just going to start with a little word on the curb because this one kind of caught me off guard a little bit. After the morning show, I was told that Miguel Cotto is no longer working with his long-term legal advisor, Gavi. And
wow.
I want to make sure I pronounce his last name right because I've always just called him Gavi. He has a very difficult last name. But they've worked together for years and years and years. So whatever happened after the Canelo fight left a really bad taste in Miguel Cotto's mouth, and he feels that maybe Gavi's ego got a little too big. Maybe he didn't look out for him enough because, Cotto had to give Golovkin a bunch of money. It didn't work out in his favor. He thought he was going to give up the belt, and he ended up just looking like an idiot, and he had to cough up a lot of dough at the end of the day. So whatever mastermind plan that they had come up with before that Canelo fight, it didn't work, and Cotto wasn't happy, and so he's no longer working with Gavi anymore.
That's too bad. You hate to see a long-term partnership fall out over, but I guess we'll hear more about it as the situation unfolds.
Yeah, and then so after the morning show, we found out that there was some big problems going on in Montreal. So before Adrien calls us, we'll just prep on this a little bit. Let me make sure I sent him the right number here before I keep on. Right. Yapping in here. Sometimes I hit my fat fingers. Okay, he's got the right number. Okay, so David Lemieux came in, like 2.6 pounds overweight this morning, almost 3 pounds overweight. I think we have Adrien in the queue. Why don't we pick him up?
All right, let's pick him up. 214-986, you're on with the evening punch-out with RB and J. Who are we speaking to?
This is Adrien Clark.
Hi,
Good evening, Adrien. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We're doing good, man. We're just trying to see, what is going on in Montreal. I want to kind of bring everybody a little bit up to speed before you can fill us in and kick knowledge and set everything straight. But this morning was the weigh-in in Montreal. David Lemieux came in very husky. He came in and was 3 pounds overweight, and he wasn't very interested in losing the weight. And so there's been a lot of reports out there circulating that, you guys were offered 40%. You guys turned it down. You're walking away from the fight. Can you give us the real deal on what's going on and what really happened?
Yeah, sure. There was no 40% offer. I'm still trying to figure out who came up with that number here in Montreal, but There was never a 40% offer. I was alerted by Camille, David's promoter, that there was a problem. He was going to be overweight. I was alerted that maybe an hour or two before the actual weigh-in. So once we first got there, he let me know. So, of course, we sat down and was trying to figure out what numbers were suitable. And the only number that I will blurt out today was he offered me $3,000 for whatever weight David was going to be over. He said, I'll give you $3,000 just to cover the difference in weight, because he assumed that David wasn't going to be that high. Of course, we didn't agree to anything. I was like, let's just let him step on the scale. Once he steps on the scale, we'll go from there. Camille anticipated David was only going to be maybe like 164, something of that nature, not higher than 64. But once he stepped in pretty much at 66, everybody was kind of looking sideways, like, wait, we weren't prepared for that. So, again, we went to sit down and kind of delegate and talk about things. They were more so upset than anything that we, like, I guess people see me in the business. Most people don't know me. I'm relatively young, so I'm a really nice guy when you get to know me. So I think he just thought that I was going to instantly, bend for the fight, because to make this fight, I bent a lot. I said that we'll come to Montreal. I said that James will fight at 163, which is not his natural weight. We did a lot of bending for this fight, so I think he anticipated for me to bend in the heat of the moment, and I didn't. I stood on my word that we were unhappy about him not making the weight, and then not even trying to make the weight after he came in over. He went and drank a Pedialyte, so it was a lot of disrespect going on. So we actually, I told James to leave. He left the weigh-ins. I tried to sit back and talk to Camille afterwards. He was clearly emotional about things. He was very upset. So I wanted to give him time to cool down. So I invited him and his partner to come meet me at my hotel, and we can talk about everything there and try to see if we can get a deal done. But once they came here, they didn't have a mind. They weren't looking to get a deal done. They were more so just looking to, try to bully me into taking the fight, just to, again, not blurt out a number. But James De La Rosa made pretty much six figures to fight Hugo Centeno, which he was knocked out on HBO, but that was his career payday. I wanted to get the fight, the number, somewhere near his career payday, which he made against Centeno. I wanted to get the number ballpark there, and they were not interested in going that high. So they weren't interested in going that high, and they ended up walking out of the negotiation when they couldn't get me to bend, and that's what happened. So they left here hours ago. Like, no one has called me or tried to negotiate or anything. I said my number. They were not interested in it at all, and they left.
How was David Lemieux's demeanor at the weigh-in? I mean, he weighed in. He obviously knew he was going to be overweight. And was he taunting James? Did he not care what was going on?
Yeah. He was like, and what's crazy, I mean, you guys know how it is. You've been around the sport. Usually when guys are not on weight, they're not at the weigh-in early. They're somewhere on a treadmill or doing something to make the weight. And David was at the weigh-in, like, kind of laughing, kicking back, and talking to different people. So you would think that, oh, the guy, he's already on weight. Like, he's ready to go. So even when they stepped on the scale and he was 166, he was still talking to James like, yeah, don't be scared. Like, fight me. Like, no, man. Like, you came in 3 pounds overweight, and then you want to drink a Pedialyte right in front of the dude? It's just total disrespect. So even with that, though, we still try to keep it respectful. We still try to keep it professional and look to make this thing work. But for it to work, for James to come up pretty much 2 weight classes to fight at super middleweight, we wanted to make sure that the numbers made sense. And the numbers that they were trying to offer, it did not make sense, and he never offered 40%. That's just a blatant lie from whoever from their camp came up with that number.
Let's suppose you would have agreed. Was there anything regarding rehydration? I mean, because he was already so much heavier.
Right. No, we were going to cap it, but like he was saying that he wanted it to be, I want David to be able to hydrate 12 to 15 pounds, and it's like, wait, what? Like, yeah, exactly. Like, he already came in overweight, but now you're going to tell us what you want him to rehydrate back up at? Like I said, it wasn't it was something that I didn't expect, but we were looking to cap it maybe at 68. 70 we'll be pushing it, but 68 or 70 is what we were looking to cap it at, but they were not interested in that. They wanted him to be able to be between 75 and 80 is what they were looking for.
So what's that? They wanted him to be able to rehydrate, what, like 15 pounds?
Pretty much.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this, and, I have some experience dealing with David Lemieux just when he fought Gabe Rosado, and a lot of people think Dave Lemieux is like this really nice guy, this really cool Canadian, and honestly, he's a little bit of a dickhead.
Yes.
And he's very arrogant, and I believe everything you're saying right now, because we had our own run-ins with him in Brooklyn where, it's kind of like, I'm Mr. Macho, it's what I want, it's how I say. So, him being in Montreal, he felt like he could step on the scale. He came up with the catch weight, you agreed to it. He felt he can come in 3 pounds over and thought that you would agree to it. So
right.
He's just very self-entitled, is what I get.
I totally agree with you. Even there was a situation to where, I'll let it all out. He came over, I guess Camille went and got him, was like, well, come talk to these guys. Maybe you could kind of rile up De La Rosa and he'll take the fight all of a sudden. But he came over and he was talking noise to James. I told James, like, yo, fall back, chill. Don't say nothing to him. Let him talk. And so David started talking to me. And I was like, man, I'm not a fighter. I'm here to handle business. Clearly you didn't handle yours, so have your man come and talk to me. So the promoter came back and he said a couple, like, choice words or whatever. But, again, I'm there to handle business. And clearly emotions got the best of their camp because they saw that, all right, we're not going to be able to push this guy over and get this deal done like we thought we could. So the panic button was pushed on their end. But, no, I lost a lot of respect for David Lemieux today as a professional fighter. I don't know him as a man, so I can't judge him on that. But as a professional fighter, as a former amateur fighter myself, I lost a lot of respect for him. I still have mutual respect for Camille Esteban, his promoter. But I know that the bridge is probably burnt on that end, but I'm okay with that. And we're okay walking away from this thing knowing that we did things the right way and we tried to get a deal done, but they weren't interested in that. And we'll go back to the drawing board from there.
And that's what I was going to ask you. We know the boxing business, and it's not the most professional. And it's not like James was Golden Boy's golden boy, So do you think that this decision that you've made today is going to affect him moving forward? I mean, do you really see Golden Boy trying to make another fight for him, or do you see yourself being iced? Because, they pretty much lost the whole show because of it.
Right. No, I don't see that whatsoever. Roberto Diaz was there. Bernard Hopkins was also there. I had a chance to speak with both gentlemen. I have a very great relationship with Rob, and Bernard and I actually exchanged numbers today to keep in contact. So, no, I don't see them icing him. We don't have a contract with Golden Boy Promotions. We just have a really good relationship with them. The two fights we had previously was two fights that Rob and I kind of hashed out ourselves. So I don't see them icing him at all. Like I said, the relationship is way too strong. And, again, De La Rosa didn't do anything wrong today. He was well within his rights to make his decision. And, like I said, we tried to get a deal done. They weren't interested. But I don't see Golden Boy, with the relationship that we've been having for the past 4 or 5 years, I don't see them taking this personal and not working with James De La Rosa anymore. There'll be a fight sometime soon, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, so Canada has this rule in the Boxing Commission that, if a fighter comes in overweight and they're not so much overweight, if another fighter says, no, I'm still not going to fight them, they could suspend you. So can you clear that up? Because it's a little muddy to me, because James might actually be suspended for 6 months for not taking this fight.
Right. Well, we're discussing that right now. The commissioner wanted me to email him so we could have everything on paper. So it's not official that he's going to be suspended. It's something that they're going to review here in Canada. I actually just recently emailed them. Maybe I think it was a little bit before I sat down with David Lemieux's people. But they said they're going to gather and talk about it to see what the best decision is. But yeah, there's a possibility that he'll be suspended for 6 months, but it's not concrete. It's not set in stone. So I don't really want to go too much in depth on it because I don't know what decision they're going to make. Of course, I'll be disappointed and upset if he's suspended for 6 months, but that's something that I'll prepare to cross that bridge kind of when I see what direction it's going. But for right now, they're telling me that it's a possibility that he won't be suspended, but it's maybe a 50-50 thing. So I'll see, and I'll alert you on what decision they make once it gets here.
Yeah, so look, you guys decided to wash your hands, walk away from the fight, walk away from the money. Nobody's really happy. But why did you do this? Was this to kind of take a stand and say, you know, fighters aren't going to be treated this way? Or was it just looking out for the best interest of your fighter? You know, why take this stance today?
Yeah, no, and like it's exactly what you just said. I look out for the best interest of the guys that I work for. I understood it when I first walked into this business that coming over from the NBA, I understood that I was working for these guys, and I had to prove myself being so young, still being in my 20s. I had to show them, not just say it, I had to show them that I was in their best interest. And it's moves like this today to let guys know that Adrien Clark is definitely in their best interest. I'm not everybody wants to make money in this sport, but I'm not going to jeopardize the health of guys that I work for, guys that have great futures in the sport, but then also their fathers, their husbands. I'm not going to put their lives in jeopardy just so I can go home to Texas with a check. So it was really me standing up for what's right in the sport, and I wasn't going to advise the guy that I work for to take this fight for a couple extra chips just to save face and say that you're a warrior, that you fought. No, because if something went wrong and De La Rosa got hurt in the ring to where either he was paralyzed or something happened to where his wife is looking at me like, wait, we did this for over a couple $1,000. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night doing that. So I made the right call on this thing. But at the end of the day, James is he's the owner of his own company. His name is his brand. So he took my advice on it. He made the final decision, and it was the right decision. And I applaud him for making an executive decision based off of what I advised him to do.
Well, you know what? I can respect that. You don't hear that happen a lot these days. I mean, most fighters are offered an extra $10,000 on the side. Look, I spoke to a fighter this morning, and this is totally off the record. I won't say his name, but he said that before his fight, the guy he was going to fight was overweight, and they literally came to his room and tried to give him $10,000 in cash to move forward and not make a big stink about it. And he said, you know, what, are you crazy? I'm not going to do that. So they came back and offered him like $25,000 in cash, and he said at that point I couldn't turn it down. You know, so I went ahead and I fought the guy who was 1.5 pounds or more over. So it does happen, and money obviously wasn't going to sway you. So, you know, you got to respect that. It just...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeandra. You have anything for Adrien?
I just applaud you. You know, boxer, compared to some of the other sports out there, it's a tough sport if you're not part of the anointed. You know, I know it was a tough decision to walk away from it, but like you said, you have to act in the best interest of your fighter and his ultimate health. We've seen some teams not err on the side of caution and it end up in something career-ending. So kudos to your team for making that decision.
Yeah, and before we let you go, there's some things circulating out there that this is still very much under negotiation and that Golden Boy is still trying to get you guys to take the fight. Can you tell us, is this dead, or is there a possibility that James could actually fight David tomorrow night?
Oh, no, this is dead. James has already eaten. He's laying down with his wife. His wife is she's pregnant right now, so he's laying down with his wife. They walked out of the negotiation. No handshake, no anything like that. So they walked out. Roberto Diaz is here. He has my cell number. He's someone I consider a friend in the business. I have not heard from him with any offer. So this thing is completely dead. There's no more negotiations. Negotiations ended hours ago when Eye of the Tiger walked out of the Cottonwood Suites. Well, you know, if David Lemieux was a real G, you know what he would have done? He would have said, look, I effed up. Give them 40%, 50% of my check. You know, that's the least we could do. But David, like I said, he's a bit of a dickhead, so I didn't really expect him to cross that
instruction.
So,
table.
Oh,
No,
Jay,
it's
I hear you talking.
No,
Sorry.
I didn't. I know it's okay. I didn't expect that of him either. So I'm not shocked. I mean, I'm totally shocked by the ending result. Once I flew up here, was it Sunday or Monday? I never expected this would be the ending result. But you know, you live and you learn in this business, and I'm continuing to learn every day. I'm a bit of a nerd, so I read a lot. So just learning every day. But you know, we'll like I said, we'll wash our hands with this one, and we'll look to come back strong sometime later in the year.
All right. Well, look, thanks for calling in on the Punch-In Show. We appreciate it. Thanks for setting the story straight. And so hopefully we'll dead everything that's going on out there. We wish you all the best of luck. Much continued success. I know you're doing really great with your book. If you want to give a shout-out to your website and let people know where they can find you and buy your book.
Yes, my website is acsportsm, as in management.com. Big shout-out to Bernard Hopkins today. Really good guy, very knowledgeable guy, and he wants to clean up I hear Floyd always say he wants to clean up the sport of boxing. I guess he's talking from inside the ring, but after talking to Mr. Hopkins today, him and I are on the same agenda. We want to clean up the sport on the outside in regards to management and how the fighters are handled in the business, and we want to educate them further on the industry that they're in and make them more of bosses in this sport. So that we can subside some of the negative things that happen in this sport. So big shout-out to him, and a big shout-out to you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it, having me come on and set the story straight. And, yeah, just shout-out to everybody, man. It's all love. It's all respect to everyone.
Yep. Anytime. All right, thanks a lot. Have a good night. Send James our best wishes. Okay.
I will. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Take care. Wow. A lot going on there in Montreal, huh?
A lot going on. You know, they offered him $3,000 just to take the fight.
3 racks. That's not even a lot. That's not hardly anything considering how overweight he was and what they potentially expected him to rehydrate to. That's shocking. You know, these are the areas of boxing that are outside of my purview, and I know you have more intimate knowledge of these types of things, but it's still just shocking for me to hear this. And wow, I know it's difficult to walk away from the payday, especially because James got a baby on the way. So obviously they need their money, but you know, they value other things above that, like respect and integrity and professionalism. And wow.
Well, I'll tell you another example. When Gabe Rosado fought Jay Leon Love a couple years ago on the Floyd Guerrero card, Jay Leon came in overweight, and at the scale, Gabi said to him, go lose the weight, go kill yourself, fat boy. And actually, we go to the back, and Gabe really meant that. You're going to have to go run it off. You're going to have to go kill yourself. Whatever you got to do, lose that weight. And they came and they tried to offer Gabe $5,000 just to let it go. And Gabe was like, you got to be effing killing me. I am not built like that. Nobody has ever known me to be built like that. You know, I've gotten to where I am off the muscle, not off of a couple $1,000. And so some fighters cannot be bought. They just can't. And some fighters can. You know, remember when Broner came in really overweight and he was fighting Escobedo or whatever his name was, and they threw a little money at that cat, and he was like, all right, and they fought, and he got his ass beat. So, you know, it's yeah. So, you know, it just all depends. Everybody's integrity is a little different. Everybody's money needs are different. So, you know, who's to say who's right or wrong? Adrien Clark is just trying to do what he thinks is right for his fighter. Now, with that being said, the whole card is pretty much canceled. So that's a major, major blow to Golden Boy. As a promoter, that's a major, major blow. There was a lot of money invested in this fight. There was a lot of marketing put into this fight, sanction fees, commission fees. So they're definitely taking an L today. Big L.
A big L. A big, big L. Look how hard they have to fight to get it on TV. They have to deal with that as well.
Yeah. So I'm actually trying to get a hold of Zab Judas people because I would love to have him come on. You know, Zab Judas' fight was canceled, and the Nevada Commission is saying that he submitted some falsified documents. Or, Jay, did you read a little bit more on that today?
I did. He and promoter Roy Engelbrecht, who are working together, apparently they provided the commission with false licensing documents. I know that Roy Engelbrecht promotes a lot of cards here down in Orange County, and I wasn't aware. I know my business knowledge of boxing is a little bit limited, but I know you have to be licensed from state to state to state to state. So according to Dan Rayfield's report on ESPN.com, it says, according to the Nevada statute and upon recommendation and that of Commission member Anthony Marnell, we have temporarily suspended Zab Judah and Roy Engelbrecht, and the reason for that is because they provided the commission with false licensing documents. They will be called before the commission on March 23rd. At that point in time, we will provide a complaint with the specifics of their suspension. We just said this on the morning show this morning. We did the fight recap at the conclusion of the show, and you mentioned the Zab fight, and I said, well, it's still morning. We just said that this morning. There was still time. I knew Zab wasn't fighting. I mean, I didn't expect this reason. I thought it'd be weight or injury or something of that respect, but false documents, yikes. What's going on with Zab? I mean,
That's shicey. Another thing that happened this morning, Jay, after the morning show is we had Vannas on the show and J-Rock on the show, and they were hashing it out and duking it out. And actually, shortly after the show, I got a little bit of word that Vannas is probably going to get that Maul Charlo fight at the end of April. And what's happening is, in order for that fight to go down, and I got this from a little birdie in Houston, in order for that fight to go down, they need to actually submit an exception to the IBF to let Maul fight someone other than his mandatory, Julian, okay? So they have to file this exception, and then they have to go to, a hearing, which may be next week or the week after that, whatever, for the approval. So you pay a fee. Let's say the fee is $15,000. You file the exception, and they're going to approve it. They're going to approve it. And so Vannas is probably going to end up with that Jamal Charlo fight after all. So I hope Vannas is training. We told him at the end of the show, dude, just stay in the gym, stay training, because you never know when you're going to get that call, to get up and fight. So it looks like he's going to get that call.
Michelle, we're going to have to start calling you the Oracle, like from the Matrix movies. The people who know everything, you just told them that, and look, it came to pass. I'm going to start calling you the Oracle. Shout out to Keanu Reeves.
So, wondering where that fight is going to land, we talked about Victor Ortiz and Andre Berto fighting, and that's being pegged to land on April 30th in L.A. So I'm being Nostradamus right now, and I'm going to say that Charlo versus Vannas is going to end up on April 30th as well.
I don't know. I think that might. I had to give you the correct answer, Buzzer. I think that you are right.
So listen, I tried to reach out to Zab Judah, and I did get a text message and saying, look, he'd love to be on, but as you know, fighters, things come up, and fighters are very disappointed when things like this happen. He's really not up to talking just yet. But I will let you know when he's ready and bring him on the show. So maybe we can get Zab Judah Wednesday night on the Ruckus, but as of right now, he's just not up to talking publicly about what happened today.
All right. Well, with that, I guess that's all we have for the evening punch out.
Yeah, well, real quick, Jay, that's not all we got. Showtime released their upcoming boxing schedule this morning as well. Everything happened after the morning show, and they released 8 new dates of fights, and I'm just going to run these down real quick. We'll start with April 9th. We got the Charles Martin fight against Anthony Joshua. April 16th, Gary Russell Jr. versus Patrick Hyland with Jose Pedraza in the co-main. And then April 30th, Badu Jack versus Lucian Butte, and James DeGill versus Porky Medina. And then May 21st, Deontay Wilder is going to Russia to fight Povetkin. And let's see, June 11th, Ruslan Provaznikov is making his move over to Showtime. He signed a multi-fight deal today, and he's going to face Jeandra Molina with Demetrius Andrade versus Hatley in the co-feature. And Thurman Porter has been rescheduled for June 25th, and the co-feature is a much, much better fight with Abnematis versus Jesus Cuellar. And in the summer, to be announced, we've got Leo Santa Cruz versus Carl Hampton. So Showtime came out swinging today, okay?
They sure did. Steven Espinosa is sitting back looking at Twitter like, how you like me now? Wow. Monster. And not just a lot of fights, but good fights. Those are some good fights. Good matchups.
Yep. So that's all I have. We got the latest from Montreal, gave you the latest word on the curb, and Showtime came out swinging. Good for them. I think that's it, Jay. Unless anything else crazy happens this weekend, I think we'll sign off for the weekend.
All right, so thanks for rocking back with us. Make sure you tune into the Ruckus. Oh, on Monday we'll be back with Bread and Red, Real Boxing Talk with Ismail Abdul-Salam holding that down. On Wednesday we'll be back with the Ruckus. Maybe we'll have Zab. Maybe we won't. You'll have to tune in and find out. And then, of course, next Friday we are back, morning punch-in show, more word on the curb, more know it or blow it. Y'all getting better at know it or blow it, but we still got a lot of work to do. So with that, RB, always a pleasure.
Yep. Have a good weekend. Nos vemos. Mwah.
Goodbye.
Bye.
At National University, you don't just get a degree in cybersecurity. You get a degree in
stopping bad guys,
helping me sleep at night,
keeping our retirement account safe,
making sure my identity stays mine.
We know it's not just the degree, it's the degree to which you use it. Keep people safe with an NSA-recognized master's in cybersecurity. Learn more at nu.edu. National University, for the greater.